Thank you all for coming.
They made me.
Yeah, made me. You lot made me. No, thank you all for coming.
Sorry about that.
So I don't know how many of you saw the old place, but I was in there 7 years, 8 years. But if you remember, you had to walk through the Body Shop's top entrance to get to my bit, and that always bothered me because it was never how I wanted it to look. I wanted that dealer look, but my experience. So this used to be a skate shop.
Happens on the videos as well.
It is. Yeah.
When's my phone?
So everybody's got my phone number. I don't know where they get it from. So this was a skate park. So that mez covered that corner, and then in here was a proper indoor skate park. So if I get the boys to open the door and you go out the back, it's still a half ramp out the back.
Do you want to go?
Yeah. Honestly, Mitch will fucking crash on it, right? That's why no one's allowed on it. So the skate park wasn't making money, especially after COVID and all that, and they've been on about moving out for ages, and we'd ummed and ahed. So yeah, eventually pulled the trigger. So I've had the keys to this place since July last year, and we moved in, we had the office, it was bare, there was nothing in here. So we painted the walls, bought the Gucci compressor, that's probably the best thing I've ever bought. Gucci compressor, put the airlines in, put the electrics in, the 4 ramps we moved over, and then we put 2 more in. And then moved the mez down the bottom and built the engine room as well. So the engine room was getting too small over the other side. The dyno's still over there now, but Jordan's taken his bay, the engine room and the square in front, and then we're going to put sales and storage in the other bit. Because I said to a lot of you, I wanted to be able to do like approved sales. So I won't sell shit, but if your car meets our standards, we'll sell it for you. Because we see so many people going to buy these now, turning up for PPIs and getting 10, 15, 20 grand estimates because they're 30 bags to buy and they're 130 bags when they were new. Like they're still supercars to run. So mag ride dampers are 1,600 quid now. You know, we're getting to parts where obsolete. You can't buy R8 V8 dampers anymore, so we have to use V10 ones on V8s. You can't buy V8 arms, which we know about anyway, so we've got exchange. So they're getting harder and harder and dearer to fix. So when I first opened my place, a mag ride damper was £875. So you can see what Audi are doing. And they're just going to get dearer. And the more the 15-year market, the 15-year window rolls on, the more parts are going to fall off. So we're finding trims now obsolete, you can't buy NLA. So it's to give a better experience to you guys. So my focus has been on a workshop at the minute and getting this sorted. So lights, office, waiting room, Wi-Fi, all that sort of stuff. And then I'll do the outside. So eventually I'll put a fence around it and I'll get the front done and the signs done. But again, I want a light box sign so it looks really Gucci like the dealers do. 5 grand. You just throw money. So yeah, it is. So it's like everyone's like, oh, why did you sell my Lambo? Why did you sell a Lambo? Because. and it's as simple as that. But I turned 40 last year and I was doing 80 hours a week, and I said to Kate, I said, next 5 years is shit or bust. We either fucking reach 45 and I've done what I'm going to do and I'll build engines in my garage, or I have a heart attack out of it. And that is kind of the way I'm going, because I don't want my boys doing it. This isn't a trade I want them to do. I don't really see it as a business I'll pass down or pass on. It's kind of worthless in the value that everybody rings up wants me. Anybody can get their car worked on anyway. You can go quick fit and get your car serviced. But it's kind of, so the VAT is hard. It's not, I'm not like Apple or Google. I haven't got a product to sell. It's a me to sell. So we'll go big or we'll go home. And that's kind of where we got to. But yeah, we're saying the last bit to do is the floor. But if I told you how much the floor was going to cost me to do, you'll cry. Yeah, just to get it painted is like 25 grand. So, and
25 grand?
Yeah.
Just to roll the floor?
To strip it, and then 2-pack epoxy. Yeah.
Your kids are expensive.
Yeah.
No, but Ricky, what do you have to say? is, When I went to buy my RA, I rang you so many times.
Yeah.
You only want to sell it in Norway. You only want to sell it in Norway. You must get this question every day.
Every day.
Every week.
Yeah.
So it makes sense to have an
it
approved
is.
used.
So what's going to happen over
Centre.
What's going to happen over the other side? So we bought a trailer. So I bought everything's Gucci with me. So I bought a trailer.
2 Tuaregs.
Yeah.
Why-
No. I got the Tuareg. That is baller.
I like the look
Honestly.
of the second one.
He bought, so a friend of mine got me the first one. I was like, I want a Tuareg. So he got me a 3-litre diesel V6, very first gen one, and it was all right. It does a job. Jack thought he was easy ease cruising Crenshaw in it because literally I'd take him to school and he was like that. 12 years old. He's literally boring it up, mate, to school. Anyway, Adam rang me up. So he goes, "Oh, BCA have got an R line," and I'm like, "Right, okay." So it's a white R line. So I've ordered a fully enclosed trailer because what I've spent over the last couple of months on trailers, starting to move things for people, it's just cheaper to buy trailers. So we bought a trailer. So we can offer that. We can offer a collection delivery service. It isn't cheap to do because what it costs to move cars now, but it's something we can offer. And then Dav, who does all the videos with me, is going to basically start to do sales and storage over the other side. So we can store cars, and then we can also sell your car as well. So it'll come in, it'll have an onboarding inspection. We'll go, right, for us to sell it, it needs this doing. If you want us to sell it, great. If you don't want us to sell it, fine. But I'm going to have to set the standard. I can't have the tail wagging the dog with this because it's very difficult when I've got a client who wants to sell their car and they're selling it to someone who wants to be a client, and you're like, who am I looking after here?
Yeah.
What am I hiding? We get so many requests of people going, can we hide that off the invoice? Because we obviously give a report, and I'm like, I can do what you want, but if anyone rings me, I'm telling everyone's getting told the same thing. I can't hide stuff. Because the second I hurt my credibility, that's it, it's gone. And that's why all of you know my reputation means more to me than, you know, I'll spend an hour on your car or I'll try and help wherever I can. Yeah. So that's the plan with it. And for me to try and take a step back, so Nathan's kind of does the office now. He will be collecting, delivering cars a lot more because he is good with that. So I might have to bring an office manager in. There's 3 lads in here. Mitch, you probably all met. Yeah. Turkish Matt. So whether you're here last year or not, he's here. And then Tom, so he's the pup we've taken from BMW. So he's 22, 23. And it's frightening that he's got more in common with Callum than he has with the guys he works with because they're closer in age. So that's quite bad, honestly.
That's close to age.
So there's 3 good lads in the workshop because Carl's left. Nathan's out the front, and then we just see where it goes. So the worst bit about running my business is running my business.
Yeah. It's not doing the work, is it?
Yeah, I don't know whether any of you feel the same, run your own business, but fucking staring at emails at 11 o'clock at night. And I give up drinking at Christmas as well.
Well, that's silly.
Silly time.
Bike racer, aren't I?
Dry.
Yeah. I'm trying to be fitter now at 41 than I was when I was racing British Championship. So,
How's the work-life balance? Are you still managed to...
No, I live it. Yeah, live it.
You still manage to enjoy yourself over the weekends? Because you can't let the business consume you.
That's probably one of the biggest challenges because if the one constant that drives me away from this place is football. So Jack should have been in Birmingham playing today now, so Kate would have had him. Carol plays for Fairford first, reserves. So like 1 o'clock, I would have been out of here no matter what to take Callum to his game, and that's a good afternoon out there. Me and a couple of dads, we've got our kids playing adults football, and we stand there. Then tomorrow's football. Jack plays for Swindon on a Monday, so I have to leave at a certain time to get Jack to Swindon.
That's probably good though. Like you have a deadline. It's like 1 o'clock. I have to go.
But then the pressures. This is the hard bit.
Yeah.
Is where it's funny, right? Because it's going to be brutal. Because some of you are going to have 9-to-5 jobs, and some of you are going to run your own business, and everybody's got a stress. But it always makes me laugh when my mates goes, "Oh, I'm stressed," and they're getting a 9-to-5 job because you're like, if you run your own business, you're like 11 o'clock at night, and you're like, shit the bag. Shit this. Did we order that?
Did I reply to such and such?
Oh, 10 plates spinning. And I'll be down here doing engine. I had an app for my phone. Yeah, I had an app for my phone. And Kate made me do it. We went on holiday last year. So my mobile was linked to the office phone. I had to delete off the phone because it would not stop ringing.
Oh, mate, you're savage.
So everything you hear now, it's all right. It's
One
just,
thing I'd recommend, Ricky, is maybe getting someone to answer the phones for you full time.
well, that is.
no, but I mean, so that no one can get through to you directly.
But
They
this
need
is
to
the
go
other
through
problem we
someone.
get is so they ring up Kate and Nathan will answer and they'll go, "Is Ricky there? He's busy.
Say he's
Oh, I
busy.
don't want to talk to anyone."
He's in a meeting. Just say he's in a meeting.
But
It wasn't a
this
meeting.
is is trying to set it. So the easiest thing for me is
an hour, don't they?
No.
is,
Takes the pressure off you.
is emails is easiest, but even then, 50, 60, 70 emails a day. And you're trying to stay on top of that. So then emails are my biggest stressor. I can deal with the work. I can talk to you about any of your cars. I can deal with that. Emails is a stressor. So we had one
then
guy.
only take the important calls, the ones where you actually have to talk to the
But
clients.
it's seeding. It's
weeding out.
filtering them out.
yeah.
And you said you get a lot of people calling you up about problems. Can you advise them on the phone? You got to charge for your time.
But every single one of you here is stood here, and at some point we've had a conversation about a problem. So how many of you would still be stood here if I had said to you in that conversation, which debit card number?
I tell you, you've got mine already.
Do you know what I mean? At some point, there's got to be a level of goodwill from me to you, because at some point, I'm going to ask for it back in your car's late. There's a delay on parts, there's this. So it has to be that open. Because I've seen them come and I've seen them go. You know, I've been working on these things now for 2007, the first one came out, so what's that, 17 years? 18 years nearly. And you see a lot of these specialists or this or that come out, and the good ones last because they do it right. I don't look after cars, I look after you lot. And I just happen to do that by working on cars.
Yeah.
So as long as I keep you lot happy, then this keeps happening. The second I start thinking it's the money, because it isn't the money I'm after, you said it, you can't take it with you. As long as my family's happy, my mortgage is paid, and I can go bike racing.
Don't tell anyone.
That's the most important.
And that's it, because you quickly realise, I think that's it. When I started, I'm going to be like, the Rodney thing, I'm going to be a millionaire. And you quickly realise that actually, it's, you're not, but even then, you're never really a million, you're asset rich, right, aren't you? You start buying assets, you've never got £1 million in the bank, and if you have, you're a fucking idiot. Unless you've got 100 million in assets, and that's just what, do you know what I mean? It's like you're smart with your money, so this is what we're trying to be now. How do I be smart now for the next 10 years, so that I can kick back and relax if I make it? Because the steelwork's building up.
Are you keeping all of what's over there?
At the minute,
Okay.
it is killing me, but you've got to take the pain.
Right.
Because there's nothing in there at the minute making money.
No, it's just
Is
empty.
the body shop part of your...
So John, my landlord, who owns the body shop, Panelcraft, owns the entire building. And then I lease. You know where that fake wall I put up was to try and separate it?
Yeah.
That backwards is what I lease, or what I rent.
Okay.
So the top bit was obviously the workshop. Then Jordan's Bay was in the middle, my engine room was in the corner, and then my dyno was the other side. So we've kept that still. Jordan's still over there, because a compound is worth its weight in gold. Like, there's probably 40 cars over there.
They've got to go somewhere in there.
I reckon it's 40 cars on site.
That's not a workshop anymore, though. There's no ramps.
No.
Okay.
So that's everything came over. So the only thing I've got left to move is my heater and my aqua blaster. And then we'll put storage in there. So at the minute, I'm carrying 2 units, 2 rate bills.
Only working
Don't-
one.
don't-
And then this place is rateable value of 45 grand. We've had to argue it, because obviously all the measures come out. But the council don't wait for you. So I've already had a court summons on one. Because we moved in July, and then while I've been working it out, they don't give you any extension. They want it paid by the end of their financial year. So they're like, pay it now, we'll go to court. And it's literally, yeah. And I don't know what I get for my rates bill. Yeah. So it's honestly, it is at the minute. It is absolutely.
So like you were saying earlier, if you miss one of those emails because it's half a level.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
It's like-
Yeah.
And you do. And then we've had this now. So they've sent, for whatever reason, they sent a rates bill for this unit to that unit, and it ended up in Panelcraft's letterbox.
Happy days.
So for months I didn't know. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. That is the hardest thing. That is the hardest thing, dealing with rates. That is the worst agency, council thing. Because the VOA set your rates, and then the council just look on a website and go, oh, that business is in there, we'll just send them a bill. So if there's any, and they just say it's them, and the other one says it's them. And both of them are like that, you owe 20 grand. And it's that quick. So, but it's all right. What else are you going to do? Kind of a carefree life. Yeah. But that's the thing then, I carry all that stress bike racing, so I'm shit when I go racing. So yeah, it's getting there. It's getting there. It's like when you move house. You move in, you unpack the main stuff, the telly, your bed and the beer, and then you're like that, look, where the fuck did we put that shit? Oh yeah, it's in that box in the garage.
Yeah.
It's like, honestly, I have moved stuff. If I told you what I have moved over, you will hit me. The shit I collected, like not even shit, like worth money stuff. I had a 720 block I didn't even know I had. I was like that. There's 6 McLaren heads up there, there's turbos. That box on the end there's a full 720 system. Don't even know when I ordered that.
Just seemed like
Obviously got turned in for a job and they cancelled or it turned into something else. Yeah, there's bits everywhere. There's literally bits that I'm like, oh my god.
Business-wise, you need more staff then? Do you see that going?
Yeah, I think the next thing now is I don't really want to do another technician. What I've got to do is I've got to get someone in the office with Nath and Kate who can manage the office, manage the emails, let Nathan go off and do parts and moving cars, and then someone who can manage the office. But my problem is as you all know, service advisors per se out of a dealer are shit. So if I put someone in with dealer experience who always says, am I going to get the same? Do you see what I mean? It's like the whole point of this is you off me, you know what's going on exactly to the letter, even if we bring you in and show you. And the more people I put in are just filters. So all of a sudden you're like, yeah, your car's not ready. Why is it not ready? Let me go and check. And that's the worst thing you can be told. Let me go and check. I'll come back to you. Yeah.
I'll ring you back later, blah, blah, blah.
And it never happens. And that's then when all of a sudden, I had one guy the other Saturday, emailed me 9 o'clock on Saturday, crashed his R8, lives local.
What, in the morning?
In the morning.
Right.
Well, he'd crashed it the Friday. In the morning, he sent me 7 emails, and by the time I got hold of him at the end of the Saturday, he's like, I've sent it somewhere else now, he didn't answer me in time.
So what do you think? You work all day, 24/7?
Yeah.
But I take that personally. I'm literally like, oh man, I really let that guy down.
That's business.
And actually, I've got to flick and kind of go, do you know what? There's a...
Yeah, but do you want him as a customer?
That's
what you got to do.
He's that impatient.
You have to put up with him now. Yeah.
Have you thought about if you're getting too much demand on your personal time, setting up almost slots in a week that you publicly say, if anybody wants to speak to me, it's a Wednesday afternoon?
Yeah, no, I hadn't thought about that, to be fair. Because I...
Almost like a doctor's surgery, right?
Yeah.
I've got 30 slots every Wednesday.
Bring up.
Yeah. I can kind of see the value in that, but then a lot of it, I think it's the ad hoc nature of what's like. If your car breaks on a Monday, or a light comes on, and then you're like, shit, I wonder if I can. And I haven't really got a problem.
You could do it on a daily basis. Just
Yeah.
saying that there's only an hour. If you want to speak to Ricky, it's this time.
Yeah, that's what someone trying to filter the emails out is like. What do I need to do? Like a PA almost in a big business, isn't it? What do you actually need visibility of and what do you don't?
Because there's the constant context switching.
Yeah.
Business.
All right, I'll sit. I don't know how. I mean, I'll sit there and it'll be 10 o'clock on a Saturday night or same on a Sunday, and I'll email. And I've emailed it, and I'm like, oh, one done. And they'll email back. I haven't moved forwards.
Straight away, they email back.
Damn them. And then you get, so at the minute now my inbox is at like 100, but that could be 100, thanks so much for your help, Rick, or that could be 100 of, what does E equal if I change the variable of M? Like, do you know what I mean? I don't know what the range is going to be. And that's then when you've got to sit there and just weed through it. And then you take someone on to help, and then you judge them by your standards. So then you're like, or you end up micromanage because you're like, make sure you do this, make sure you say that, make sure you do this, make sure. So like, I really try not to be I'm not a boss. I don't like being a boss. So then trying to verbalize what I want is a struggle because I'm a control freak, because this is mine and no one's ever going to love it like me. So it's hard, but I can't have it both ways. If I don't want it.
If you don't want to do it, someone else hasn't, yeah. We're going to feel really bad about emailing now, Rick.
honestly, because
My auto needs to send that.
Do I need to reply now?
my auto office is on. So my auto office is on. So the second you email it, it comes back going, "We've moved," because that is hilarious, honestly. The amount of people have been parked at there. We're parked outside, you're locked. No, we're in a new unit. I emailed you, I told you, like, that's hilarious. So my auto response on every email is, "We've moved and we're extremely busy, but I will email you back." So I'm normally 4 to 5 days behind emails. Like Sunday now, I'll catch right up, and then it'll build up through the week and build up through the week. And some stuff I keep on top of, but ones I know I've got to put some time into, like, and then YouTube doesn't help.
No, more time. Isn't it?
So if before all this
half
sort
a day filming.
of popularity was 10 emails a day, 8 inquiries, 2 genuine customers, as that's multiplied, the ratio stayed the same.
Yeah.
And that's, so now, like we did the Skoda thing, and that was great. I did that for Skoda UK because my friend's head of press and PR there. And then I had like 50 people go, "Could you build me one?" Yes,
How much is that?
50 grand. What?
How much?
That's what Skoda spent with a car and everything we did,
Yeah.
50 grand.
What did we say?
Oh, I thought someone said they could, no worries, go there. Like, you know what I
My
mean?
mate can do that cheaper. Send it there.
That is my, no worries, it's
Yeah,
fine.
that's fine, mate.
Not,
Yeah.
because without
You do
sounding,
you.
without
Yeah.
sounding like a dick, we're booking for April.
Yeah.
So you 70 emails a day. What percentage of that is genuine customers, business out of that? Of those 70 emails that come in a day, what percent? Would you say it's 20% of that?
So I would probably say 50 are dealing with you guys, cars in, cars out, asking for
repeat
updates.
customers, yeah.
Then the next probably 25 are people trying to book in. So I'd say 75% of people are trying to book in or talk. 25% is probably a bit of tap. Where
that's
it's like,
okay.
do you know what I mean?
That's a good rate. So it means there's more genuine
Yeah,
inquiries.
yeah. It's not
As
like
opposed to
it's not like I'm spammed.
Yeah.
But again, that's what then makes it worse. Because if it's spam, you just be like, delete. It's stuff that takes time then to.
So they're actually genuine inquiries.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what you need is someone full time to deal with those genuine inquiries. Take
Yeah.
that weight off your back.
And
Because you can't be 10 o'clock at night on a Saturday replying to this. Come on.
No, I'd rather be building engines.
It's, yeah. Well, you want to spend time with family.
But no, if I'm here, I don't. If I'm here, I don't want to be doing office work. I want to be building engines.
Yeah.
That's the point of it. I mean, I helped. A client turned up yesterday in a Lamborghini, and we couldn't. I knew what was wrong, but we can't code it in because Lambo don't let you have license to their online stuff. So I put them in touch with a dealer we work really closely with, and it took them a couple hours to come back. And the dealer's reply on the CC to the customer was, "Booking for 6 weeks." That was it. There was no, "Hi, how are you? Great to meet you." No.
Blah, blah, blah.
Like,
Just, cool.
Don't be a dick. And that's the standards I set.
That's actually from a Lambo dealer.
Yeah.
I've heard McLaren main dealers even
No
worse.
pleasantries, nothing. We're booking for 6 weeks.
How has the move helped or improved your engine build area then? Is it
Oh, go and have a look. Different level. Yeah. The engine room of the other side was good, but it was never big enough. And I don't know whether ever of you ever really noticed the door in the old place was a single door. So I built a V10. I did it once. Built a V10, hung it, everything on it. Got to the door and went, fuck.
Can't get through.
Like, no, I'd take half it back apart. So I could never get a V10 out of the doorway with manifolds on. And my engine stand didn't fit through it. So honestly, trying to get an engine out of that engine room is a nightmare. And then, so yeah, double doors. I can do a couple in there now. So what have I got stripped in there in a minute? The 2 outside. So the one on the floor is a GT3, ready to go back in a Lamborghini GT3
That's the
car.
racing one. Yeah.
The one on the left, up on the box, is going in the car that's going back to Greece. So that's a twin turbo, so that's a valve train, rods, pistons, fully balanced, blueprinted. And then I've got back in a white car. We'll put the turbos back on it and then we send it to Greece. The one on the floor is coming out to our rods and pistons, and that's going in the guy who owns OMG Racing. The challenge car is in for a full refresh, so we've just stripped that one down in the video as well. That was close. That pretty much run through the bearings. And the engine stripped down in the bottom if you want to see that. Corey's, we put a fuel system in it.
Is that nearly all done?
Motec,
Is it?
yeah,
All
pretty
that
much.
thing, isn't it? Yeah.
The Testarossa is having new ECU and wiring loom. That's supercharged, yeah. That's supercharged, and it's just...
By you or just someone else?
My friend's building the wiring loom, and then we'll put the ECU on it, so it'll go on like Motec ECU, and then we'll tune it. The supercharger was done 30 years ago. Yeah, it's like a Coney rep or something. That's my piece of shit. And then what else is down there? I've got a Darza, so a 5-cylinder Darza's going 1,000 horsepower. I've got Dean from Saving Salvage's RS7 stripped, ready to go back together. Chris Slicks's McLaren is spread across the bench on the other side. There's a DCT box stripped. I think there's a couple of McLaren heads to go back together. There's a manual gearbox on the pallet that I need to change shift forks in. That's about it. Sat over here at the minute, I think.
What's Matt's car doing? What's he got?
Matt was at a track day with all the tubers on Saturday,
Oh, was he?
and
Yeah.
the power steering went
Oh.
at the bottom craner. So yeah,
Doing lovely things.
well, typical BMW, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. He's doing big lovely things. Yeah.
Well, that's what it stands for. Brakes more than working.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
If someone phones you like as a new customer, what's your range of what work that would take on then?
So if you want an engine build now, so servicing and repair work we're booking for second week of April. If you want a PPI, so your pre-purchase inspection, then we'll juggle you in because nobody can wait if they're going to go look at a car. So we can get that in, we can look at it. Then if you want an engine, end of the year, middle to end of the year.
End of the year?
Yeah. I've got to give myself,
Jesus.
I've got to give myself, because Christmas was supposed to be ready in January.
They take long.
End of Jan. And then we've just waited for parts and waited for parts and waited for parts. So now I'm behind on that one. Engines will calm down a little bit because the GT3 guys are all the same. They do nothing till Christmas because they want to keep money in the bank. Then they'll come to me in January and go, oh yeah, I need my engine refreshed. Right, no worries. When are you testing? Second week of Feb?
Yeah. When next month?
Race teams. It's the same. My bike goes on a lorry tomorrow to go to Spain. Go and have a look, see if it's finished. Race teams, they're all the same. So that, I know, January, that puts a big demand on. But what I also had going on was I'd already committed to the 2 YouTubers videos. So all of a sudden now I've gone from kind of having 2 engines to 5. Then we've had a couple more that have come in that have just needed diagnosis and they've turned into engines. So I've got a car out, a sales car over there. I haven't even thought about that one. That's got a rattle when it's running. That's done a rod bearing. So we've got to get that one done. Yeah, so it just depends what you want.
And these are all sort of V8s and V10s that you would take on? Right.
Yeah, so the main stuff at the minute now, ignore the Testarossa, that's more because of the Motec ECU than it is because we're Ferrari. The challenge car is obviously because Matt done 10 years at Ferrari, so he's ex-Ferrari technician, so that's come from there. And also he's one of the customers that come to Nürburgring with us. But the McLaren, we do, yeah, McLarens and R8s and Lambos,
Right.
pretty much. I would probably say 60-70% R8, another probably 20% Lambo and then 10% McLaren. So there's a lot of good McLaren specialists out there. So it's not, we do more engines than cars, I would say.
And why McLaren? That's a bit, well, to me it seems a bit of a departure from all the other...
Because it was never, it was always because no one was doing them.
Okay.
Just went
It was Mitch's ex-McLaren. So Mitch's ex-McLaren,
Right.
Matt's ex-Ferrari, and then Tom's BMW. Carl was Mercedes. No one was doing them. And it's the same, we do a little bit with Porsche. But with Porsche engines, I say no. I turn Porsche engines away.
Okay.
Because there's some very, very good Porsche engine builders. And they are very particular. And it's, again, like you saying about the mix of cars to work on. We've done C63 the other week, so we'll work on what we want. I built a track GR for people because you might own a Lambo, but your wife might own something else, and you're like, Rick, can we just use you for everything? And that's fine. But yeah, certain engines I just turn away. So I turn away quite a lot of engines.
What's the McLaren engine like? Just in case that some of us are
Old school
thinking
Nissan.
to move. It's an old school.
Nissan.
No, but are they as well built as the Audi
The
C10?
everything that fails, so The Audi, nothing's as strong as the Audi V10. That's the strongest engine out of the box. So the car in Israel I built is doing 1700 horsepower. So that does 100 to 200 in 2.4 seconds. Wow. And that's on stock engine. That's got a £90,000 gearbox hanging out the back of it. But that's a stock engine, turbo kit.
Bloke drives that proper as well, doesn't he?
Yeah. So same as Corey's, stock engine. It blew the gearbox to bits, so we built a gearbox. So engines are mega. They are strong. The McLaren, the engines, they bend rods because they're turboed. The cylinder pressure at low engine RPM, they can just ramp them up because you just turn a boost up. And people get it wrong, they bend rods. So we see that a lot. And then the Dazas, we do a lot of 5-cylinder Dazas because we just built drag engines for ages and ages. Like I used to do 4G63s out of Evos and stuff like that. So we've always got a bit of a old school engine from when I was an engine builder 15 years ago. So we still get a couple of them.
Because when you look in the classified, McLarens are so cheap, as you know. You see them and you always think, oh, wouldn't that be nice? The doors go up and all that. But as you said, once you start playing around with it, they all seem to need an engine rebuild, like 40,000, 50,000.
They just get to a point.
There was a black 650 here for ages. You remember? This one, the other one, with the engine out. And every video, I could see it in the background.
At Heads.
Yeah. Do you remember that was in for 3 months?
The problem with them isn't so much servicing is a killer. So I think their service schedule is too short. Because everything I've seen that's damaged on a McLaren that isn't a bent rod is because of servicing. So it's oil quality. You can't buy anything from them. That's the hardest bit.
What, they just replace?
You
buy a whole new engine.
Yeah.
You have to go and get an engine built. Right.
Yeah, you can't buy anything. Yeah. So McLaren are the hardest in the aftermarket to deal with.
And the pricing must be mental.
They're not. Some prices ain't bad. So like Chris's, the cams are like 250 quid each. Cam for an R8 is £1,000. And there's 4 cams in both.
Does that just show how poor quality they are? If you can obviously buy them 2,500
So was that a Nissan
drop forged pressed steel on a R8, and they're like cast in the McLaren.
Yeah.
So it tells you.
That's obviously why, isn't it?
Yeah.
I had a McLaren factory tour at MTC with a supercar driver.
Yeah.
And we had the VIP customer relationship manager who sits right next to Zach Brown in his office. And he took us around that day. 30 people got picked, and I was all potential buyers. And of them 30, half were ex-McLaren owners, had 650, 720, cars that had gone wrong. And they put their hands up and said, look, we fucked up. We got the 570 wrong and we got the 720 wrong. Those are the 2 models we got wrong. And the others before that, we got them right. And he goes, the new models, the R-Tour and that, we've engineered it out. But I know a lot of R-Tour orders have had problems with them.
I mean,
hybrid batteries and all that since.
For driving,
yeah.
I challenge you to find a better car than a 675 LT.
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
Genuinely, I'd put my house on it. You won't find a better driving car than a 675 LT. Problem with that is there's 200 bags you got. But if you could make a 650S like an LT, people would line out the door for them because that is the best car you can buy. You've got to remember as well, McLaren have done when did the 12C start? 08? McLaren have done in 17 years what Ferrari of Lamborghini have spent the last 70 trying to do.
75 Ferrari or something, isn't it?
So all of a sudden now, we live in a social media world where everybody wants everything now, and people say, do people think the Miura was a good car?
Yeah. Imagine what social media would be like.
Do you know
People
what I
drive
mean?
around with a Diablo.
So when you look at what they've done and how they've done it, you can't really rag on McLaren. No. They get ragged on a lot by people who've never owned them.
Yeah.
True.
So that's the biggest thing I see. I don't hear many bad stories from owners other than, every 20 minutes the fucking windows will go down. Yes. They're software heavy.
I thought electrical faults is their big
It is. Mechanically, I think they're all right. The engines are based off an old 1980s Nissan race engine.
Yeah,
so the engine is Lego. It's just
like
you said, the parts inside it are built to a cost. And then you've got the complication then that they build them, either they were built by Ricardo's, then they were built by Capricorn, then they're built in-house. Yeah. So now all of a sudden, you've got 3 different companies building engines. So you could have a really good one that was built by a company that was building F1 engines, or you could have a shit one by a guy named Fred who's half pissed on a Friday, just who's on half day.
Seriously?
Yeah.
The build quality's that bad?
Well, it's not so much that it was that bad, it was that varied.
Yeah, very, yeah. The spectrum. the quality control.
Ricardo's probably one of the most renowned engine houses in the world, and he was doing 100 years ago what people were doing now. So you go and Google Ricardo's. I've got a book in there that is 90 years old, and he was making glass cylinder heads so we could watch what was going on inside engines. Like, so Ricardo's, if you got a Ricardo engine, yeah, you're laughing. But then as they started to move them in-house, because they're obviously paying these companies to build their engines, then they found teething problems. And that's
Can you
it.
tell from serial numbers and stuff?
You
How do we
probably
find this
could
information?
in McLaren.
Right,
I don't know.
right. It's
I
not
don't
public domain.
No, so all the GT3 stuff was Ricardo.
Right.
And I know that because all the GT3 X stock I have was bought from someone who used to work at Ricardo's.
Another smoke source.
So Ricardo's good then. If you get a Ricardo engine, it's solid.
Ricardo were building F1 engines. And
Right. So that Cosworth.
all them old V10s that used to scream and stuff, that was all Ricardo stuff. So yeah, you're good engine builders. I'd have one. That'd be nice.
Here's a geeky fact. I was at the Goodwood Festival Speed last year. I was talking to the chief test driver for Bugatti. He worked on a Veyron, where we were having drinks afterwards at the end. And he said to me, when they were building the original Veyron, 1,000 brake horsepower,
1001.
the 1001, this boss of Bugatti, right?
That 1 horsepower made.
They-
Don't cheapen it.
They built a dyno and they had it at 1,000 brake horsepower, like it, for 24 hours.
Yeah.
After 12 hours, you probably know the story, the dyno blew up, but the engine survived.
Yeah.
There was nothing wrong with that engine. And then the boss was, Vito says, go and do it again. And he said, well, who in this real life was going to do that?
Yeah.
It empties the fuel tank every 12 minutes.
Yeah.
The tyres degrade after 15
That was
minutes.
that was I can't remember the guy's name now. From
Yeah.
Volkswagen Group. That
And
was
he-
his
and he
flex.
told me
That
that.
was his flex, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Veyron.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
said, "Oh, we want to build a 1,000 horsepower road car." He went, "No. I want 1,001. I want 1,001." Because it's right, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or for years and years and years, you ticked that box on a form that said 21 to 30, and then one day you had to tick the box that said 31 to 40. Like, it's a big deal. In a 1,000 horsepower car, mate. It's 1,001.
1001.
Yeah.
And that's obviously when 1,000 horsepower cars
Were
didn't exist.
nowhere to be seen.
Didn't exist.
Nowhere to be
Nowhere
seen.
to be
Yeah. You think, what was it?
I mean,
2006, 2007?
Yeah, 07. I mean, unless you was baller and you had some Supra.
I think
like,
even then, mate. I think even then it would be a jack box,
It would have
but
to
it would
be.
be 700-800 horsepower. It
Yeah,
wouldn't be
yeah,
1,000 bags.
yeah.
No one had a reliable to go to that speed, 260 miles an hour.
Yeah, as well.
Well, tyres, they
Yeah.
did, didn't it? It
Yeah.
pushed everything.
Yeah, just like like you say, they didn't have tyres. They just didn't. They
Didn't
just
have
had to make
wheels.
everything straight from the new, didn't they? Yeah.
And now you can literally roll up here with a 80 grand R8, drop 50 grand on it,
And just
and
be
it's
like, cool.
1,500 horsepower.
Send it done. That's it.
So when
And
they
it-
built this engine, it was like it did the same kind of testing. It ran it for 24 hours.
That's what makes it, OEM level of development and testing is out of this world. Yeah.
When he told me that, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
The dyno blew up.
It's pretty cool, isn't it? Yeah.
So you go next Salem and you go and look at engine plan and you go and look at the test beds. Yeah, it'll frighten you. Even Tickfords and Milton Keynes. So they do a lot of all the homologation stuff that used to come over. We had to do through Tickfords, and you'd go in there and they sit a R8 on there. They'd run it 8 hours, 8,500 RPM,
Flat.
and then they'd literally have a dump tank. And they'd go from running at 95-degree coolant and they'd run in 0-degree water all in one.
Wow.
And they just run it straight through the engine while it was there. And the engine would go.
Be like,
Everything changed. Yeah. There's a reason you go engine test banks that there's dump trays under the engines on engine dynos because they run them to destruction.
That's what they've got to do, haven't they? Yeah.
Want to see where the limits are.
Yeah. When is this going to die? This thing?
When is this going to
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
When is this going to blow up?
Rolls-Royce have a jet engine, don't they? That has never stopped.
Has it?
Yeah. They've got
just runs?
Yeah, it just runs all day long. Wing flexes as well. Same with the aeroplanes. Sits there.
Wow.
Wing, and it just bends a wing up and down, and it will go for a life cycle until it breaks, and then it will go. Oh yeah, it's done 30 trillion cycles.
However many hours of whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, development's mental, but no. So that's
Well,
it. It's
well
one of
done,
the
Ricky.
story.
You've doubled in
Thank you.
size. Well done. Seriously, you've doubled in size.
Yeah,
You know, it's all work in progress. When we come back in a year's time, you'll have your sales plot there.
Hopefully,
You'll
I'm
have
a floor
people,
painted.
people coming in, test driving cars. You'll have dealer plates going in and
That's
out.
it, yeah.
You'll have salespeople on
I
phones
need a
closing
YouTube
sales.
sponsor who's a floor painter. That's what we need.
You'll be exporting cars all around the world.
Yeah, big containers all out there.
Yeah, sponsor workshop.
But it's a testament to what you have done over the years.
Yeah, it just takes time. But like I said, it's not. They're not They are special. I love them, but they're nuts and bolts. Everything's nuts and bolts. It's dealing with you guys. That's the trick. That's
With the nuts and bolts.
With the nuts and bolts. Yeah.
yeah. It's easy to get a customer. It's hard to keep them, and that's the trick. How do you keep everyone coming back?
But repeat business is profit.
Yeah.
Repeat business is profit. When you get them coming back again and again and again, profit.
So no, thank you all for coming.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for taking a Saturday out.
Yeah, it's all right. Yeah, have a look around the engine room. Yeah, it's getting there. It looks good. Looks good.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
No worries.
Thank you, Ricky. Thank you, Ricky.
Cup of tea.